Jonesy, baby.
I don't know. I was
Can't hear you.
expecting
One
like
sec.
a thousand.
Oh my God, looking professional with the bookcase in the background.
I was expecting like 1,000 people to be on here when I got in here. People are asleep, man.
Nah, dude, it's the ones who are tapped in right now. I was just reading this book here. Man, this is crazy. So good. What are you up to?
Tell me about it. I was supposed to have a sales call. The person didn't show, called and went straight to voicemail. And I'm actually happy now because I was like, I saw you post this, and I was like, dang, I have a call at 3. Maybe I can slide in at the end. And I was like, when I called, I was like, dang, this person didn't show up. I was like, wait, Danny is having this Zoom. Let me slide. So it works out.
Dude, I just have tears in my eyes right now a little bit because this book, The Surrender Experiment, talks about everything happening for a reason
Mhm.
and being open to it and the flow of life. And the reason why I have tears in my eyes is because it's like if that went through, life wouldn't have unfolded in this way. And the purposeful nature of everything that happens is something that I don't think we really understand. And it puts it in perspective. This is a guy who set out on his way to start his spiritual journey in like 1970. And he just said, you know what? I'm going to unfold and surrender to the process of life. And by the time it's over, he ends up running a multi-billion-dollar company, I believe, and being on the board of WebMD and going
Man.
through that journey with him and seeing where he like it's crazy to realize when you really think about the coincidences that happen that make that occur. And so, yeah, I highly recommend it.
it's
Probably
it's so it's so interesting because like when the call didn't happen when they no showed, I was like dang, like I don't want to say like I was just down, but I was like I was annoyed, right?
yeah,
um and it's funny because like I've been reading Happy Pocket Full of Money. I'm not sure you're familiar with that book, and like part of my thinking after reading that is like, okay, like law of cause and effect, it's gonna work out. So it was a miniature test. It was like, yo, if everything's gonna work out, then why are you sitting here feeling down about it? And like as soon as I was like, okay, it just is what it is. I was getting ready to go for a walk, and then I remembered that you were doing the Zoom session. I was like, there it is working out. But what if this wouldn't have happened? Would you just sat there and like been down about like what would you have like in my like I had already moved past and like okay, it just is what it is. But like this one worked out immediately. But what happens if it doesn't work out immediately? Are you going to sit there and be upset about it, or are you going to trust that everything happens for a reason and keep moving on? So it's kind of interesting to see things like that play out.
yeah, and it's crazy because we could understand intuitively or believe everything happens for a reason, but when you read the examples of that occurring in someone's life and how they dealt with it and how they move forward, it just brings a whole new perspective for me personally because it's like you're able to experience that with them in that moment. But
Yeah, I was just about to say you always have the good book suggestions. Like anytime you post a book, I'm like, dang, this sounds like it's gonna be some heat. I started reading A New Earth and I didn't finish it, but I might have got maybe one, two, even three chapters in. I was like, man, this is a really good book. And the only reason I didn't really finish it is because I had to read it on my laptop and I hate reading digitally. I love having a physical book in my hand. So I'm really interested for the book that you just showed, just because one, you always drop heat, and like you said, watching somebody let things play out and watching how it played out for them, I feel like that'll be a really encouraging read.
bro, send me your address and I'll send you the surrender experiment and I'll send you a New Earth, the physical copies.
Danny, literally everything happens for a reason. Like
That's
this
what I'm
wouldn't
saying.
like this literally would not have happened if I would have had that call. I don't even know if you would have been still in the Zoom session, 45, 30 minutes later or however long it would have been for me to slide in at the end.
Yeah,
I'm about to DM it to you right now.
please.
What else have you been up to, Danny? Oh, one second. Major props on that the new podcast that you're doing with Lucky Trader.
Thank you,
Congrats on
bro.
that, man. That's dope. It your journey, and then I'm gonna get to what else you've been up to too. Your journey is so interesting to watch because you're one of the few people who you actually get to see it play out in real time, and that's one of the things that I've always wanted to do or wanted to highlight because it's easy to say to highlight your journey after you've already made it. Like that's what pretty much everybody does, and but watching it play out in real time is like, oh man, like you get to see what consistent work, what happens when you put in consistent work. You get to see like, oh, they started this on in month one, not really knowing where they wanted to go. And it wasn't until month 25 or whatever that it actually paid off. So it's like, oh, well, that means I need to put in more time. So I'm so glad that you tweet. I'm so glad you have your podcast because it's what I wanted to do or what I wanted to create. And it was just done. It like I actually get to see it happen.
I appreciate that, man. It's exciting to be able to do it in public, in person, so that everyone like you can't fake the timestamps, the tweets. Like it is what it is. It's there forever. You can't fake the podcast. You can't fake the things I say. And so it'll be really fun looking back, I'm sure, in 10 years, wherever it ends up. But
Right.
because my intention is so strong and such in a direction, and it's like, will life unfold that way? Who knows? But it's exciting to just do it and to just put in the work day after day and see people like you who have been in from the jump. Like it just means so much to me to be able to do that journey with someone else and with other people.
When you were coming up on a year, I was like, wow, it's been a year since I had my first conversation. I was like, man, he is making so many strides. Like it's so crazy to watch you put out 3 episodes a week for a whole year. Like to put out 3 episodes a week is that's already one thing. To do it for a month is another thing. And then just to do it over a year and to keep doing it. So that's pretty ridiculous, man.
And then imagine doing it for 10 years, right? Like what's that going to look like?
And then you just got a studio too, didn't you? Or found or was looking
We're
for a
so
studio?
yeah, I'm looking into a bunch of different studio spaces in the city and just touring there. It was kind of like I guess a basketball player, like a high school basketball player, going to see where the pros play. And I'm
Right.
literally just like giddy, like, oh my God, this is so crazy. This room is so much like this. There's engineers that come here. So I don't know if it's gonna happen. I don't know if it's gonna happen in the next month, but I think that it's just so exciting to have that vision of like, wow, this is where I could be recording one day. So
when when you walk in there, do you say, "Oh, I'm going to be right there. Joe Rogan's going to be right here one day." Do you do all of that?
well, I think that this is like the studio going to a studio is kind of a stepping stone in and of itself,
Hmm.
right? Because one day I want to have my own studio in my own house. So I just think about it like, man, I'm so excited to start doing these in person and connecting with people in person and feeling that energy in person. Like that's what I'm after. So
Have Have you done any in person before?
only with friends and family. That's it.
Okay. Okay. Are you? I mean, I kind of expect you to be nervous, but are you nervous?
No, not at all.
No
I'm
nervousness.
excited. I mean, it's like the same thing, but more energy and more
Mhm.
stakes and more you're thinking about more things and more you have more inputs to deal with
Mhm.
and more information, the person's body language, how they respond to certain things, what their hands are doing, what the and it's another
Mhm.
ball game in and of itself. But yeah, I'm just excited for it. I think it'll be amazing and it'll make the interviews even better from my perspective at least.
I think the energy is going to be something that's because you can feel it coming through your headphones or just watching it on video, but actually seeing it in person, I feel like it's just gonna add to that energy that's in the room.
Yeah, I mean, I get such a high from talking to Tej or like having these crazy conversations with people, and I can't imagine what it's like when I'm actually in the same room as them, as we're actually focused on that one thing in that moment. It's exciting for me, man. Honestly,
And then too, the conversations that will stem from it, just because. you don't have to really worry about interrupting somebody or like talking. It's more natural because you can like pull back if you start to and kind of like, oh no, go ahead, and there's no like lag in between of just be like latency issues or anything like that. So
I think
like
about that so much. Literally, that's the biggest takeaway, I think, is like the lack of lag between and connection. So, yeah, that's such a good point.
going back to going back to surrender experiment, how do you how do you I don't even know what I know what I'm trying to ask, but how are you able to surrender? You know, how are you able to understand that everything's going to work out even when things aren't working out?
Yeah, I think that for me, it's about just letting unfold what is going to unfold. And I had no idea. And this was a test for me, honestly. I had no idea who would. It's like giving yourself little tests every day, I think is the
Uh-huh.
best answer.
Mm,
I put up the Zoom and I was like, I don't know who's going to come in. I don't know if zero people will come in during the entire time. I don't know if what will happen, but I just have to accept that I don't know and see how I react and see what
mm,
happens. And another way is to notice bad things happen and then track the results of those bad things happening. For example, your
mhm.
sales call, and it's like bad that someone canceled on you or didn't pick up, but something bad led to this connection.
All right.
So that's a beautiful thing too, is like the more you test yourself and the more quote unquote bad things you experience that lead to good things that you couldn't have ever predicted or done yourself, that's how you continue along that process. And even little moments in your own life, like waiting for the elevator, or like let's say you're going waiting having to wait somewhere. Well, you're waiting in that moment and you could be saying to yourself, "Oh, why am I waiting? What's going on here?" But if you remind yourself, "Oh no, this is a beautiful opportunity to learn something else. Let's just surrender to it." Like
Mhm.
I don't know if that answers your question, but that was my takeaways.
It does at least a little bit. I have a follow up though. So it's like so where did that stem from? The being able to accept it. Because you know, again, it's one thing in practice and another thing, you know, just to think about it in theory. So where did it stem from, like to for you to be okay, or for you to even let's start with this. What made you what made you kind of want to send out the Zoom link and you know just go from there?
I listened to my intuition
Hmm.
and I was like, man, I would love to connect with someone or some people who are following me right now. And this will be I didn't think about it so much in depth. I just like followed my intuition of wanting to talk to someone, wanting to connect, feeling appreciation for people who follow me. Like that's what that's where it stemmed from.
Hmm.
And then the stem for surrendering, when you see it in action in someone else's life, it's like how could you not want to live that same life yourself? So seeing it in action in Michael Singer's life and being reminded of it was really important for me.
Did you do that prior to reading that book?
Yeah, I mean, it's something I've always done for the past 2 years, but
Hmm.
when you read something, it's just right in your mind, and it's so.
Mm.
And so the moments in my life when I have surrendered and trusted have been better than the moments where I've been very attached to an outcome in a particular way.
Okay. Does it help you stop labeling things as good or bad? Because you have you read anything about like I can't even remember if it's like Buddhist, the Buddhist parable where it's like the man he lost his horse and the guy was like oh that's bad. He was like no one knows truly what's good or bad. Does it help you operate kind of the same way?
Yeah, for sure. And it's just a great way to understand that potentially everything does happen for a reason. And
Mm-hmm.
potentially the life you're living, if you were to tweak one thing in one way,
Mm-hmm.
would have a crazy impact. I mean, the stories he tells, the synchronicities are so absurd. Like one example, he's teaching at a college
Mm-hmm.
and he goes to open the window because it's hot in the room. And he waves to bring the air in, right? He goes like this.
Mhm.
And then he 10 years later or 5 years later, whatever it is, he's talking to someone who shows up at his temple, and it's this woman, and this woman says, I want to thank you so much because I was really shy 5 years ago, and I saw you wave me into your classroom, and I just want to thank you for that because it being in your class impacted me so much, and that was a pivotal moment in my life. And he was opening the window, didn't see her,
Yeah.
and waving to bring Aaron.
Yeah.
That
That's
happened over and
yeah.
over and over to him. And like that was just one example. So when you see shit like that, when you hear, it gives you a lot of trust to just be and to just flow. And there's no way, and there's no absolute way you should be, because everything is happening for a reason. Everything is going to work out. And when you have that trust, you're like, listen, put out a Zoom link. No one shows up. Great. Jonesy shows up. Amazing. A million people show up. Amazing. Like, you're detached from outcome because you're so willing to be like, yo, it's all good, baby. Whatever happens, happens.
That's that's very interesting. Even this conversation here, because I thought I've always lived from a everything. I mean, everything's just gonna work out perspective. I think I've said, like, if there was like a transcript of my life, I probably said that for like 8 years ago, right?
Yep.
But looking at things now, like I might say it in retrospect, like, oh yeah, because everything works out. But I see, like, in day-to-day moments where I don't feel that. But conversations like this, the book that I'm reading, like the shift, I'm starting to believe it more and more. Where 8 years ago, it just felt like something I kind of just said. So
Yeah.
it's really interesting to see things play out like that as well.
Yeah. That's what I was saying before, is like you could say it, but it's different to believe it and to know it. That's like way two different ways of being. So I'm grateful for having this book because I believe it and know it at a deeper level. But tell me about this book you're rereading for a third time. What's that all about?
So I was looking to see if I had it around me. It's Happy Pocket Full of Money, right? First heard about it through TED and Clicks and Copy University. So let's see if I can give you a little bit of summary of it. Um, it starts with quantum physics, kind of telling you how the world works. And what he's basically trying to tell you, and it let me start over a little bit. So the name Happy Pocket Full of Money comes from, I think that's kind of like a clickbait title, in the sense that, what do people want in life? And people want wealth in life. A lot of people want wealth. And so he kind of used that, though, to pretty much show you how the world works and show you how you can attain wealth, but pretty much how you can attain how pretty much anything in life that you want. And he started out with quantum physics, kind of talking about how the world works, how it's just everything is made of the same particles of energy or whatever. And he started there and moved kind of over to like who you are. Um, like, this is like you're made up of the same thing that everything else is made of. Like, that's you. So if that is how the world is, if that's everything that the world is made up of, and I'm kind of paraphrasing and skip around here, then pretty much everything that can exist already exists. Um, let's see, that already exists. So because this happens, then there are like then dang, it's really hard to like do
All
it in
good.
sequence like this. But anyways, so he goes on to talk about, like, again, the way the world works. So like law of cause and effect, and how conditions don't exist, and how you're first cause. That's what I was missing. How you're first cause. Like, everything that you see on your outside world is just a reflection of the inner work that you're going in. Because, like, most people think of themselves as a body and a mind, when really, like, you're a spirit, a spiritual being that's having a physical existence. So it's like, if that's the case, then, like, where do you draw the line between your body, or where do you draw the line between your mind? Like, if your spirit extends around and is everything else, then that means you are so much more than you right here. So if everything comes from, if the outer world is just a reflection of your inner world, then you can use your thoughts, your actions, all of this stuff, your mental images to create the world that, or create the experience that you wish to exist. So that's what he does. He starts again with quantum physics. He goes into like images of the mind, which is like the first cause, or states of being, which is the first cause. Like you are happy internally, and then you have experiences on the outside that reaffirm your happiness. And and he even went on the purpose, and this is what I really like about purpose. And I'll end what I'm saying about happy pocket eventually. But he says this about purpose, like you chose before you came. Like people think free will starts like when you're born, basically, right? But he says that free will existed before you were born. Like you as a spiritual being chose the conditions that you wanted to come in here and experience before you came in here and experienced everything. So
Wild.
like your purpose, like the things that interest you, like they're supposed to interest you because that's what your spirit chose before you came here. Um, and even talked about goal setting. Like he was talking about like most people want to be a millionaire, most people want to be a billionaire, but like money's just it's just really numbers on a piece of paper. So like what does that actually look like to you? Like a billionaire, like is it, do they have like 1,000 watches, all these Louis Vuitton shirts or whatever? Like he was saying basically to make a list of everything you want, like for the next 30 years, so that it can go ahead and start to manifest. Like you don't have to want it right now, but you and your infinite capability, or whatever you want to say it is, will bring it at the right time. But it has to go ahead and start bringing it to action. And he was just saying like somebody who wants to build, somebody who has like 1,000 things that they want will have more wealth than somebody who just wants to be a billionaire. Because like how do I know, being a billionaire is just a word. How do I know what that looks like? So you have to have these images in your mind of what it looks like, what does wealth look like, so you can actually experience that.
I love that. And it actually reminds me, I did read it myself and I need to reread it and write down that list because I've heard that before. And it's a powerful practice because we often just think that a particular amount of money is what we want, but
Hmm.
we don't have the things that that particular amount of money will actually bring us.
Right.
It's
Because
like it goes
I
to
was
a
about,
deeper level.
I was only gonna say, you want to be a billionaire, but like the only thing that you want is a Lamborghini. Like that's not really a billionaire. So it's like you
Right.
have to have these images. You have to know the experiences that you want to have in order to experience them.
Yeah. Powerful, man.
Yeah, that's my book right now. I'll probably read that after I get done reading it. I'll probably reread it again because they have like he'll say something like the first step is this, and then like you won't really understand it completely until you go all the way through it. So I've been like making stars. I've been making notes, and I've been making stars by notes. So when I read it again, I'll kind of read my notes and then try to figure out read through my notes to figure out like how to do this to complete the first step. And if it's not in my notes, reread it again to see if I can find it. So I'll probably be reading that through the rest of the year, if not longer.
I love that, man. What other books have you reread?
What other books have I reread? I've reread The Way of the Superior Man a couple times.
Dave
Um,
Dida or Dita?
yeah, that one's good. And the cool thing about rereading the book is like it's always you come back with a different understanding. So you were brought there, you might have enjoyed it, you might have highlighted some things here or there, but then when you read it again, it's like, oh, now I understand this more because I'm a different person than when I first read it. Let's see. I think I might have mentioned this before. There's a book called Parallel Universes of Self. It's by Frederick Dotson, I think. That's a book that I've read multiple times, and I'll probably give it another read. He has a good section on law of attraction that I like. I'm trying to think. I don't know. I've tried to get to the point where I don't where I don't read as many new books and try to reread the old ones that were good, but I can't think of them right now.
Those are two good ones.
It's also funny though, Danny, because I I'm, I'm surprised that you let me sit here and talk to you because we had that whole conversation on love yourself like your life depended on it. And
Yeah.
I never moved forward with that podcast. But lately I've been thinking about like moving. I was like, I had the wrong idea going into it. Like I, I don't know. And I've been thinking about redoing it. And I was like, dang, if I ever post this first episode, Danny's going to be like, yo, it took you like a year to do this.
Nah, dude, everyone is moving at their own pace and their own speed for the thing that they need to do, right? So it's like some people might record something and then say, you know what, I'm not ready to put this out yet. I'm not ready to do this thing yet. And I think that's where having no expectations is so key, and finding joy from the process, from the conversation itself. For me personally, I love talking to you. It was a great time. Whether or not you post it or the world sees it or no one sees it, doesn't matter to me. We had a great time.
Yeah, it
So
was nice.
so when you approach life from that perspective of podcast conversations, anything, it's just such a more joyful, lighthearted experience.
Mm.
I hold zero resentment or have anything, like that just doesn't even cross my mental to say, wow, Jonesy didn't post this or that, or he didn't go through. Like, what does it matter when we had such a joyful experience from talking about an interesting book? Shout
I,
out Jamal Ravikant.
I was thinking too. I was talking with a friend about like influencer culture, and I was like, man, because I just got back from a wedding in Cancun like earlier this month, and like
Nice.
it was a blast. Like we had high expectations going into it, and somehow it exceeded them by a long shot. But I was thinking, I was like, I want to read, but the thing was, we didn't like no pretty much. Well, I didn't record any videos or really take any photos aside from when I actually pulled out my camera to take out to do some photography. And I was like, dang, like I want to go on these trips and like take these videos, but it's not really to become an influencer or anything. It's just like I just want this memory, and then I want to be able to show my kids when the time comes. Um, so it's like and I say all that to say, like, enjoy the moment for what it is. And like, you don't really have to try to accomplish it or something from it other than really enjoying the moment.
Yeah. And also on that point, a previous version of myself shied away from taking photos and videos because I was like, I don't want to be an influencer. I want to be present. I want to be fully here. I don't want to think
Mhm.
about what's going on and take out a photo but then I realized like that was a mistake on my part, that even if I was taking it just for myself, that was a win. And
Yeah.
because I'd want that memory in 5 years. And the fact that I was not giving myself the joy of the future memory of the previous memory was because I didn't want to be an influencer or feel like an influence. Like I,
Mhm.
I viewed I was looking down upon what they were doing because I thought they were doing it for attention or clout or whatever. But it was just a narrow minded way of thinking myself, that I wish I took more videos from my past. And I try to take as many videos as I can today because it's such a precious thing to record conversations, to have videos of the past, have photos. And
Mhm.
so I try to do that whenever I can.
I feel like if people, in the times before they had cameras, if they knew about cameras now, they probably would have took pictures of like everything. But
Yeah.
like here I am, like, oh no, I'm not gonna take a picture of it because then I'm gonna feel like a influencer, or then I'm gonna feel like I'm not in the moment or something like that.
Right. When that can help you feel more in the moment and help you realize things about that moment that you maybe never realized before.
Mhm.
So the Cancun trip, how was that? What was the
It was,
best part of it?
man, I really don't know because we were. I don't know if I mentioned it. I think I just said I came back from Cancun, but my brother got married in Cancun, and
Congratulations.
yeah, it was dope, and it was it was funny because like leading up to it. him and his wife, they had like all these events, and like me being his brother, he has a twin too, so like me and him talking amongst each other, like, man, we had to go to all these events, like we might as well get married in Cancun too, like since we done all this stuff. But anyways, and but all like we did all that, and we weren't like really complaining or anything, but we went over there and just, like had a blast. But the funnest moment, let's see, the reception was really fun. I tell people, like, I went to a lot of parties in college, and the reception itself was probably like top five, top three parties I've ever been to. That's how
Amazing.
the wedding was. But the funnest moment was this. There was the first night we were there. um the first night we were there, they had somebody playing. They had like it was a band, but it was like a singer and a musician. They were playing music, and the group kind of just like found each other, just kind of randomly, like, because there's 120 people in this group, right, for a destination wedding, which is pretty wild. With like 60, maybe even more, being around like the 23 to 28 age range. So like people who just out trying to have fun. So like everybody kind of found each other, and we were kind of like figuring out what we were going to do, and they started playing music, and we just started turning up to the music, like singing with them and stuff like that. And like don't stop, they played Don't Stop Believing, and like we were singing along with them, like at the top of our lungs. And like the I think he was playing either guitar or piano. He pointed to us, because like we were on the side of it. He pointed to us, like it seemed like he was enjoying himself too, or enjoying the energy that we were giving off. And it was fun. I've been trying to find videos, but it seems like nobody has a video of it. So that's, I guess that's a sign to take more videos.
But you said the group found each other randomly. You mean the musicians or everyone?
The
What do you
the
mean?
group that we were with. So like I had recently been eating like with a few of my cousins, and I left them at the restaurant to probably go change. And like, and then as I was walking through the resort, I was kind of like asking people like what they were doing. Some people were leaving the resort to like go to the city, and then I ran into like my brother and some of the people that he was with, the one that wasn't getting married, and he was like, "No, we're not doing anything. We're gonna stay on the resort." So they joined me and the people that I was with, and then we ran into his wife, or soon to be wife, and she was like, "Yeah, my sister's going to the city, but we're not trying to go." And it was like 10 of them. So like we're all just chilling there talking, and then they start playing music to the left of us, and we just turned up right then and there. And it was like really unexpected, because I didn't even know they was about to play music. I didn't expect to be around all those people at then. And it was just something fun to do at the time.
That was your best memory, or like the most impactful one that stood out, and it was a random occurrence, right? Like, and it was
Right.
just by chance.
It was just by chance. Like I said, I didn't even know they were about to do that. And it was the first night too. So it kind of really cemented, it really set the tone for like the way the weekend was gonna go. Cause that's when I realized that, like, oh, this trip is gonna be like it's gonna be pretty different.
Magical.
Yeah, it was fun for sure.
That's dope, man. And what are you most excited about today in this present moment?
What am I well, now this conversation, because I feel like I wanted to hit you up about something recently. Mm, I don't know, because I always try to send you messages
I
every
love
now and
them.
then. Yeah, I always try to send it. I think I was thinking about the podcast that I wanted to start, and I was like, I wonder if Danny would come back and do an
I would.
episode. And so I was like, I think I was thinking about that. Because I think I was thinking about a new Earth. I was like, oh yeah, you posted that book. That's what happened. You posted Surrender Experiment. I was like, man, Danny always posts these bangers, and this kind of hits right along the topics of the podcast I want to start. So I was like, I can see myself like having reoccurring guests. I wonder if like Danny would be willing to come on, when I do get it up and running. But other than that, I don't know. I don't know anything like in the present moment that I'm just like excited for, but I've been excited taking things day by day, in the sense of like, I don't know, it just feels different. It feels like I have a new appreciation for it. So
What got you making? What makes you think you have a new appreciation for it? Like, why are you saying that?
hmm. It's part because of reading Happy Pocket and trying to figure out or understanding that the things that I want to experience, I will.
Yep.
So I pretty much walk around like I go through the day knowing that things will work out, or like if I want to take this trip, like I just need to figure out like what trip I want to take, and maybe things don't look like that'll happen now, but I trust that they will happen. And being able to operate like that has been fun because it's like now when I walk in, I'll take 2 laps around my block in the morning, and when I do that, I try my best to like focus on things that I want in the future, like not in a oh I want this, but like if I'm going to get somewhere, I have to know where I'm going. So, let me think about stuff that will bring me joy in the future so that I know the direction that I'm kind of headed in.
Yeah. I've been doing this meditation, this Joe Dispenza meditation, where you embody the feelings of where you're going to go or where you see yourself going.
Mm,
And so I actually did it for the first time a couple of days ago.
mhm,
And I'm doing this and I'm embodying the feeling of becoming the biggest podcaster in the world, and just what that would mean, right? All the auxiliary things that would mean. Attention, um, people like needing my attention to the world, all this stuff. And I was feeling like what it would feel like deep within me to get recognized by random strangers on the street. Okay.
mhm,
So I do this meditation. It was great. I'm just like, wow, this feels
mhm,
incredible. Felt such a sense of joy and peace after doing it.
mhm.
10 minutes later, I'm just sitting down at the table and this random stranger comes up to me and he's like, Patrick Mahomes, you look exactly like Patrick Mahomes. I guess my hair was similar with the
Yeah,
haircut or
I
whatever.
can see it.
And I was like, it forced me in that second to embody the feeling again of what would it feel like to get recognized? Because I was just like, oh my God, that's crazy that I was just embodying that feeling. And then it was life forced it for me to have it in the next moment. I just thought that was cool and a good reminder to keep doing the meditation and to keep embodying the feeling.
Did you like that attention? Or are you yeah, did you like that attention?
Yeah, it wasn't so much that I enjoyed the intention, but the aspiration of to becoming the biggest podcaster in the world is it's almost like if Kobe Bryant says to himself, I want to be the best basketball player in the world, right? He's
Mhm,
not doing that for the sake of getting attention, but when he becomes as good at his craft as he possibly can, it will lead to people to recognize him as being the best or
mhm,
being one of the best. So that's kind of how I think about it with podcasting.
mhm.
It's like,
I was, go ahead.
no, I was just saying, it's like, it's an inevitability if that's the
Mhm.
level that I want to reach, is like people recognizing me and becoming aware of me before I know who they are.
Got you.
That makes
And
sense?
I was yeah, and that's kind of what I was asking. Like were you cool with that, or was it like, oh, I don't know how I'll feel if like random people coming up to me, like, will that take away from this or that? I was wondering like if if that thought kind of occurred to you, or if it was like, no, this is it. Like I'm okay with this. This is cool.
Yeah. I think it's cool because it's an inevitability based on
Mhm.
how big I want to get, because I want to
Yeah.
be able to do this at the peak that I possibly can.
Mhm.
And so if I really want to be the greatest podcaster in the world, then I need to get comfortable with the idea of random people coming up to me.
Okay. So how'd you come across that type of meditation?
I don't know. I was just reading Joe Dispenza's book and I was like, this is sweet. Like, let me check this out. I checked it out. I I think it's on Amazon Music or something. And I just started doing it a while back. And then I had this guest on. Her name is Kat Norden. I think you would really enjoy that episode, knowing you and knowing what you're about. And I had her on, and she credits Joe Dispenza for helping her. And I was like, oh shit, I should probably get back to doing that Joe Dispenza meditation I was doing uh, last year or whatever. And so I started doing it for the past few days, and I'm loving it. It's such a beautiful feeling of not only getting in touch with myself and feeling that peace and presence within me, but also the elevated emotions of where I want to go. So
Mm, that's interesting, especially because with law of attraction, they say like you have to resonate at the energy level, at the frequency of the thing that you're trying to attract. So it's like if you meditate in a way that allows you kind of to step into that person or character, then it allows you to get in touch with that frequency where in your day-to-day life you might not understand or know what that feeling feels like.
1000%. And that's why when you said I walk around town or I do a couple of blocks around my neighborhood and I feel what it would feel like to be where I want to be, it just reminded me of that so much. So we're doing the same thing in our own different ways.
I asked you this at the beginning, said I would come back to it, and here we are, like 45 minutes later. But what else have you been up to?
Yeah, bro. I've been up to right now. I'm in Tampa.
Okay.
I was called to
Crazy.
Tampa. I don't know why. Well, I do know why now, but yeah, that's another crazy story. But in Tampa, getting some sun. It's a beautiful thing. I have NFT NYC next week. I'm super
Mm,
excited about a bunch of people in the NFT ecosystem coming down to the city, New York City, that is, and just stoked to be doing the podcast and talking to interesting people and just crushing it. Like it's just fun. Like it's so crazy. I wake up I'm like, yo, how is this?
mm.
How is this happening? You know?
No, that's cool. It's funny that you said that you didn't like now why you ended up in Tampa, but
Yeah.
then for like I've been thinking like okay, uh, like a trip to Tampa has been calling my name, and not because it's like the last city that I went to in Florida, but like it's been calling my name. So it's funny hearing you say that. But speaking of NFTs, I have to listen to your Lucky Trader podcast episodes because like I am 1,000, well I guess 999% in the dark when it comes to NFTs. Like I know they're a thing, but I have no idea what they are.
You're not the only one, my friend, and you won't be the only one for many, many years to come, which makes it so exciting because it's the early days of NFTs, and there's probably 500,000 people who are in it and trading and know what it is and know what's going on. So, yeah, it's a real early ecosystem. And so that's it's awesome. You know, if you don't know what it is, it's no worries. It's not nothing wrong with that. It's very early days for NFTs.
With the first podcast episode that you not even with the first, but with that podcast, did you start with a does it take people from zero to a certain level, or does it just like throw you into the thick of things?
Yeah, so I'd actually be curious to get your take
Mm,
after listening to episode 1. This is an episode I recorded with my friend Logan Hitchcock, and I'm
mm-hmm.
curious if that's good for someone who has no idea about anything really. And let me know. People
Okay.
people who aren't in NFTs have messaged me saying it's been helpful to them, but I don't know if that's just them or they've had more experience or knowledge. So let me know if you get a chance to listen to it and if it's actually helpful at all for you or what you think we should add or what
Mm,
questions you still have after listening to that first one because I don't know how beginner it actually is.
okay. Oh no, I'll definitely do that for you. It's also funny too that we're having this conversation because with one of my sales calls, it's the legion is just starting up. So I've talked to some people who just aren't qualified. Because I was talking to this one guy, like 2 minutes into the conversation, I was like, "Yeah, this isn't for you because you're just getting started." But I mean, I'm still booked for like the next 20 25 minutes, and you just want to chop it up a little bit. And closer to like when we were getting ready to hop off, I was like, because he was starting an online business. I was like, oh yeah, there's also this section. I was like, are you on Twitter? I was like, there's this section of Twitter called Money Twitter, and like a lot of them have like good advice or good tips for like you to for you to build on. And I was like, so I was like, I probably wouldn't follow more than 5 people because then you can get like um then you can get like
Overwhelmed.
yeah, overwhelmed. I was like, but I was like, I'll give you 5 right quick, and I made sure to throw in Tej and you. So I
Oh,
was
I
like,
appreciate that, man.
so because I was like, Danny's like one of my favorite people to follow because like my timeline's kind of mixed. I got a lot of funny stuff. I got a lot of pop culture referencey stuff. And then the hustle stuff, and there's some doom and gloom on there. And I especially with everything that's going on, it's just like some people are very doom and gloom. Some people don't care. So it's like, but when I see Danny, when I'm scrolling through my timeline, and I see Danny. I know this is somebody whose tweet I can stop on and read, and it's going to be something beneficial. And that, at the least, I know it's not going to be, doom and gloom, and it's going to be something at least positive.
No doom and gloom over here. We don't have time for that.
And
But I
it's always
appreciate that.
refreshing, for sure, for sure.
So you're running the sales agency?
I don't run it. I just close. I tried the agency route, like I guess 2 years ago. I started trying 2 years ago. But this is what I like doing. You like doing it in conversation form. I like doing it in a manner of maybe this can help you. If this can't help you, point you in the right direction. Um, so I do that right now, enjoying it.
How'd you get started doing it?
It started with it, and that's funny because I was telling Terrence this last time we talked. Like the signs have always been there. I've always supposed to be in sales. I kind of ran away from it unintentionally. Um, but because I was like when I was in clicks and copy, I was supposed to be writing copy. But there's a first assignment, and I hope Tej doesn't mind me saying this. There's one of the first assignments in there where you have to write a letter to Tej, like you have to create an offer to sell him, and you have to write copy for it. And in my offer, I was selling him my services as a what is now known as a closer. I thought it was just sales at the time, so that's what I called it in. But it was a closer. So like that was like assigned one. But just over time, I stuck with copywriting for a little bit. But one day I was thinking, I was talking to a friend, and I was like, dang, I don't have a reason to wear suits anymore. Cause like when I was in college, I would wear it for like SGA, and I was president of this organization. So I would wear suits kind of often on campus. And then I was like, dang, I don't have a reason to wear suits anymore. And then like the next day, Lodge, I had DM Lodge about because he was looking for a closer or something. I had DM Lodge, and then like Luke had sent an email saying like, hey, if you DM Lodge Fitz or whatever Fitz, I don't know his real name, but anyways, then
Logan. Logan
yeah,
Fitz?
Logan. There we go. Yeah, Logan. Then um then let's hop on a call because we have opportunities or we have the sales group or whatever. And then so that was like in May. And since then, that's just kind of where I've been. It was really interesting because it was like I had this thought and I was like, dang, I kind of drifted from the goals that I've had, and not necessarily in a bad way, but I had this thought of like I would on the daily have this thought of walking into this office and doing certain things. Like I was wearing a suit, I was like dressed up in a certain way. I was like, dang, I haven't had that thought in so long. And then the next day comes and I get this email and I'm like, no, this is a sign. Now this is definitely a sign. So since then, I've just been here closing.
Closing? And what have you learned from doing it so far? Like, what's the biggest takeaway?
Hmm. The biggest takeaway from it. Okay, first, and things just won't. Things didn't go as I expected them to be. I thought it was like pretty much get on an offer and start making $10,000. I thought that was basically it, right? Um, but like I've been on offers where the lead gen was terrible. I've been on a couple offers like that, and so it's like if I'm only getting paid off commission, then that's not a really a good sign, right? So, and I was talking to a friend the other day about it. It's like you just have to just kind of commit to it because like I was in college for 4 years and I wasn't making any money, and I was perfectly okay with that. But here I am, 6 months into this, doing something that I actually enjoy. And at the time, I was ready to give up, but and I thought, I was like, dang, that's crazy. Like I only put 6 months into this, something that I like, that has like an immense, that gives me an immense opportunity to grow. And I'm ready to quit when I did this for 4 years with like, four. I
Great
know,
perspective.
yeah. So I had that. So really, like one thing was to just stick to it, and kind of very generically just stick to it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other thing is like I don't know. Like I'm even now, like even matter of fact, I'll be 100% honest. I'll be 100% honest. When I saw, let's see, when this person didn't show up, I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll hit up Danny and ask him to tweet out, hey, does anybody need a closer? And then he'll be able to match me with somebody. So I don't know, like even now, like I'm still looking for offers here and there. So it's like, it's just something that you kind of got to stick to and be okay figuring it out. And like I say, I'm doing a 2 year bid at Closer Community College, right? Trying to learn as much as I can. And I'm committed for at least the next 2 years, because, you know, it just is. But I don't know, man. I don't know other takeaways other than that. But it's just a learning process. And hey,
We're all learning on this game of life, on this floating rock in space. And it seems like you have the right perspective and the right mindset needed for long-term success. And that's really what it all comes down to, the mindset of it. So yeah.
yeah, I think so too. And I like, even with the ones that just aren't qualified. Like I know I'm not going to make any money off of it, but it's an opportunity to have a conversation. Like I've met some pretty cool people just
Exactly.
through this, and it's like, dang, if it wasn't for this, I would have never spoke to you. And like I like the guy that I told him about money Twitter, like he texted me the other day to connect me with one of his friends. So it's like there, even though it's not an opportunity for this, there's still opportunity in it. And again, it's something I enjoy.
Yeah, bro. And it'll lead to seeds that you can't possibly predict, or no one could possibly predict a little bit in the future. So it's great to hear you have that mindset. And I actually have a podcast very soon. So we got to hop off here. But dude, it was great connecting with you, and great seeing you and conversing again. And I will
Yeah,
send
for
you both
sure.
those books because I think they will make a big impact on you. And I'm extremely grateful for our time together today.
Yeah, I'm glad you did this, Danny. Always good talking with you, man.
Hell yeah. Have a great rest of your day and keep on keeping on, my man.
Oh, real quick, I might be in New York eventually. I have a friend that stays up there, so we
Sweet.
might have to link up when I'm in the city.
I'm looking forward to that day.
Sounds good. All right, Danny, you have a good one.
You too, man. Peace.